Summer temperatures are in full swing. How do you protect yourself from the heat? Our doctors have some life-saving tips just for you. We speak with Dr. Theodore Schuck with the Brevard Health Alliance in Florida, taking a tour of our new campus and welcoming us to the community. Almost 80% of out-of-hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. Learn how CPR training makes a difference and saves lives. That's coming up. Also meet Dr. Steve Ontiveros, Associate Professor and Chair of the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology. What advice does he have for starting out a new year in med school? Stay tuned. Plus, do you have a drawer full of junk at home? Well, guess what? We want it. Learn how faculty use this in their medical lessons. All that and much more. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the DL Pulse, a podcast about osteopathic medicine, community, and education. I'm your host, Sidney Alvarez. This podcast is brought to you by Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine and sponsored by GCU. Learn how GCU is the credit union that can help you meet your financial goals. Visit gcu.com for more. Now, most of the country has experienced an uptake in extreme heat. In fact, record temperatures have impacted most of the nation. So how can you protect yourself and your loved ones? Dr. Layla Townsend shares these heat-related safety tips.
Hi, I'm Dr. Layla Townsend. Summer temperatures are on the rise. Here are 4 tips that can help keep you safe in the heat. Tip number 1, stay hydrated. Water can be your best friend. Drink plenty of water throughout the day. Avoid alcoholic and caffeinated beverages as they can dehydrate you. Tip number 2, clothing. Wear light-colored, loose-fitting clothing as it can help you stay cool by reflecting the heat and allowing air to flow over your skin. Tip number 3, never leave children or pets in the car. Rolling your windows down isn't enough. Tip number 4, think community. Check on your friends, your neighbors, especially your older adults. Make sure they have access to water and cool environments. Keep your summer safe and fun. For more information, visit burrell.edu.
Great advice. Thank you, Dr. Townsend. Now, no one expects emergencies to occur as they go about their day, which is why it is important to learn CPR ahead of time. Cardiac arrest can happen at home, at school, at the gym, workplace, anywhere and anytime. CPR is a critical skill that can help save a life when a person's breathing or heart stops. Here's student Dr. Hannah Morris with CPR training tips.
So today we're teaching CPR to the local Lions Club, and we're teaching hands-only CPR, so a skill that anyone can use when they come across someone out in society that happens to have suffered from cardiac arrest.
Heart attacks are #1 cause of death in the society. Learning CPR can actually help a person's survivability.
I really enjoy working with Burrell students. I think you need to know something about CPR. I think most people should know.
The first step is really assessing the patient and making sure that they need CPR. Then it's really just making sure that you're initiating the 911 response. So having someone call 911 and then initiating chest compressions. My goal is to be an emergency medicine physician someday. Well, I'm really passionate about emergency medicine, things that everyday people can do, and this is a really easy skill to learn, and it can save somebody's life.
Great information. Thank you so much. Now, as you can see, I am joined now by Dr. Steve Ontiveros. He's the Associate Professor and Chair from the Department of Anatomy and Cell Biology. He's here to give us some insight into the department and to share some advice with our students. Welcome to the show.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were very excited about having you on the show because we wanted to talk about, anatomy and cell biology. Tell us about that department.
So the department is made up of an excellent group of team members, and so the department, the way I describe the department is we work more as a team where we help each other all along through whatever it is that we're encountering. And so here in Las Cruces, we have a group of 7 individuals, team members, part of the team here in Las Cruces, and 4 in Florida. And we're waiting 2 more faculty to actually join our team here in New Mexico, and so our our department is going to expand a little bit more. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I think of anatomy and cell biology, to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think of it being as the fundamentals, the basics of medicine.
And I would agree. You know, when we're talking about the anatomical aspects of medicine, understanding what a structure, not just where it's at, but what it looks like, where it's located, and how it's associated with other anatomical structures, basically relating the anatomy to the anatomy, is really important for physicians, because when you think about our bodily system, it all functions together, and all of our structures are in some way related to each other. And so understanding those relationships is absolutely important.
Well, it's understanding relationships, but they're complex relationships, right? I mean,
Yes.
Can you share some insight on that?
Well, you know, although they are complex, you know, if we're talking about molecular pathway versus understanding the functionality and how a structure is associated with others, this is where learning anatomy in the gross lab is really important. Although, when you think about learning anatomy, yes, you can learn anatomy in the lecture hall, but in the gross lab, in a full dissection curriculum, students are entrenched into the aspects of anatomy. They can go in there, dissect out a specific structure, not just take a look at it and understand where it's located, they can physically feel it. There's a lot of tactile elements associated with the learning. And from there, not only that are you seeing where it's located, but you're also you're able to physically see how it's associated with other structures in the vicinity. You know, are there blood vessels coursing through there? Mm-hmm. Are there nerves running through there? What are the anatomical elements that are associated with each other that make that specific area function the way it's supposed to?
So, can I ask you, you know, this may seem like a loaded question. How do you learn, you know, anatomy and cell biology? Is there a particular method that you encourage?
I would say, although both aspects, both cell biology and anatomy, I would recommend taking a slightly different approach. Anatomy, I definitely highly suggest and recommend learning anatomy in the gross anatomy lab, because you learn that additional elements through the tactile, you know, what it looks like, you know, what does it feel like, you know, how dense is it? You can feel all that. But when it comes to cell biology, and this is why I take the approach of drawing in class, is because there's a lot of mechanisms associated with cell biology. And so I draw out these mechanisms during lecture so that the students can see how a specific function evolves and develops to eventually resulting in some type of cellular response.
Can we talk about study habits, study opportunities when it comes to learning the subject matter? You know, I think of maybe developing a list of, you know, glossary, visual aids, study partner. What is your recommendation for studying?
In general, when it comes to studying, and you know, this is across the board, in particular if we're talking about medical students, because they really need to understand their material. And when you think about the hierarchy of learning, right, there's, you know, the more pronounced aspect is when you understand something, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of when we're talking about students, is understanding a process or mechanism or a structure. It's very important for them to understand, not just learn it or memorize it. You know? And so the way you get to that point is, yes, you have to start at some level where you maybe learn or memorize the name of a structure or the name of a process, or the name of a mechanism. But then you got to take it to the next level where you start not just not applying it, but understanding how that mechanism is important and what are some of the other factors that are associated with it. And where that comes in, and this is what I recommend, yes, I recommend studying and learning these processes on your own, such as terminology, things like that. But then study in a group where you get to challenge each other and develop more pronounced those aspects that you've been learning, develop them into a more pronounced aspect where you've taken that concept and not just memorized it, but now you've understanding it. And that's where, when you study in a group, you test each other,
Yes.
and then you teach each other. That's where you continue on that path of not just memorizing something, but you actually understand it.
So Dr. Ontiveros, they're wrapping me up on time. So I wanted to ask you very quickly, can you talk about our gross anatomy labs in New Mexico and Florida? Can you tell me quickly?
Yes, yes. So initially when we first started here in Las Cruces, we started teaching anatomy via image-based. And so, yes, you can learn anatomy through that process, but when it comes to learning anatomy, as I said earlier, there's aspects, the tactile aspects, where structures are located, how they're associated with each other. And that's where the gross anatomy comes into play. And so we have labs in Florida and New Mexico that students are going to be physically and actively dissecting cadavers, cadaveric specimens, and they're going to be cutting through, learning where the structures are located, learning what the structure is. Not only that, where it's located, what it's associated with, and when it comes to learning anatomy, it's through that process of full dissection where you get a very pronounced understanding of what's occurring there.
Dr. Ontiveros, I'm so sorry because we are out of time, and I definitely want to invite you back so we can get more information. I know this is very important to our students and to the community in general. For more information, people can go where? To our website?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely, and that's burrell.edu. Dr. Ontiveros, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back. Coming up, we speak with Dr. Theodore Schuck with the Brevard Health Alliance in Florida, taking a tour of our new campus and welcoming us to the community. Plus, do you have a drawer at home full of junk? Well, guess what? We want it. Learn how our faculty uses this in their medical lessons to help students with manipulative medicine. All that coming up.
Here's to the unseen late nights, learning curves, and your perseverance. The behind the scenes is where the magic happens. It's where you shape your process and where you don't let anything hold you back. GECU is there to support you through it all with the products and services that you trust, so you can focus on making your own path. Become a member online now at gecu.com.
Your time is now, right here at the Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine. We have a 99% graduate residency placement and more than 850 physician preceptors, plus a simulation department, gross anatomy, and research labs. We offer Mission Medicine, a community-based learning experience with 2 campus locations, New Mexico and Florida. Go to burrell.edu and apply today. And remember, your time is now.
Hey everybody, welcome back. As you know, we love to talk about our community partnerships here at Burrell, and I am joined by Ted Schuck. He is the Chief Medical Officer for Brevard Health Alliance. Thank you so much. He needed to help me, get through the names here formally. Tell me about Brevard Health Alliance.
Certainly, yeah. So Brevard Health Alliance is the only federally qualified health center in Brevard County. It's a community health center. We service about or over 60,000 patients at this point. Our mission is to provide as much primary care services as we can for our patients. So that encompasses family medicine, pediatrics, dental, behavioral health. We have pharmacy, amongst others. We really focus on underserved population for those who really need our services the most. But we see anybody who walks in the doors.
Now this is really exciting, and the reason we have you here is because our 2 organizations are now formally working together. Tell me about this partnership.
Sure, yeah. So we've had a great success, and we've been fortunate enough to have the Burrell students from New Mexico already rotating with us. They see a lot of patients and a lot of pathology with us. As you know, like we said, we serve the underserved.
Yes.
So we look forward to having students who are actually here in our county and in our area seeing the patients with us.
And isn't that so important? I mean, it's about community impact. And when you have a med school in an area, it's such a positive benefit. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. There's lots of literature out there saying that, if the students are taught in an area, they're more apt to stay in that area.
Yes.
And our county is extremely underserved when it comes to primary care. My mission, I know a lot of our mission here is to get as much primary care docs in our area as possible. There's going to be a significant shortage within the next 10 years, so that's currently our mission.
You know, let's talk a little bit about our students and your organization, particularly through the Preceptor program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in, what are they learning? What are they doing?
They're doing, their primary rotations right now are pediatrics and family medicine. They get hands-on with the patients, so they're able to go in, triage the patients, interview the patients, provide some assessments and a treatment plan.
Mm-hmm.
We do certain procedures, outpatient procedures, and we allow the students to possibly participate in those procedures. So they really get their hands, dirty, so to speak, with patient care. So it's really, really beneficial.
Let's talk a little bit about you. Is that okay?
Certainly.
Tell me about your background.
I grew up in Philadelphia, so I was born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
I came down here through the National Health Service Corps, which is where they actually paid my tuition for medical school for me to go and work in the underserved area after medical school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great program. A lot of people don't realize the program and the opportunity to not have loans once you're finished up with med school. So I knew I wanted to come to a county in a state where there's the ocean, I like to surf. So that was always a benefit. And since then, I've just grown here and I've loved it. Raised a family currently.
You know, I always ask our student doctors and our guests, what inspired them, or what was that motivation that said, hey, I want to pursue a career in medicine? What was that for you?
Mm-hmm. So I'm the first in my family to actually even graduate college. I grew up, I'm one of 7. My mom and my dad both raised us, but my mom in her younger years had a significant car accident. She saw her family doc, who was an osteopath, a DO.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what DO meant. I just knew it was our family doc. He did a lot of manipulation for her and OMM. So seeing that, I actually went for physical therapy originally, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well just pursue medicine and DO. So that's the path I went with.
Perfect. Let's reel it back to Burrell. We're in our new campus here in Florida, here in Melbourne. You were able to tour the campus. What do you think of the grounds?
It is amazing. It's top of the line. All the new technology stuff that I didn't have in medical school. So great campus. The cafeteria is amazing. I went over there and got some food over there. So excellent opportunity for the students.
I always love takeaways. So what advice would you have for future med students? What's the takeaway? What advice would you have for them? Look in that camera and tell them.
Yeah, I would say first, pursue what you want to pursue. Don't let the finances and the salaries kind of reflect where you want to go with. Again, I'm advocating for primary care, and I would say really look into that, because you really make true connections with your patients, and it becomes part of your true family. So, take advantage of possibly the National Health Service Corps. Look into that. Look at other opportunities, and I think they'll all be successful.
If people want more information on Brevard County Health Alliance, did I get that right?
Brevard Health Alliance.
Health Alliance.
Yep.
Where can they go?
So they can go to brevardhealth.org or bhachc.org, and you'll get a lot of information there. And if not, you can always reach out to me personally. I'd be glad to talk to the students.
Awesome. Ted, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your insight. You know what? And thank you for inspiring our students, because I know a lot of our students are definitely going to benefit and learn from you.
Absolutely. Yep.
We'll be back after the break. Do you have a drawer at home full of junk? Well, guess what? We want it. Learn how our faculty uses this in their medical lessons to help students with manipulative medicine. All that coming up. This podcast is brought to you by Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine, and it's sponsored by Western Summit LLC, proud supporter of Burrell since our inaugural year. This segment is brought to you by Hub Insurance Services. Their team of knowledgeable insurance professionals in New Mexico has the insight and resources to build customized programs that can evolve with your company's needs. Their scope and size enables them to access a wide range of resources, offer a deep bench of industry experts, and utilize exceptional market buying power on your behalf. Work with the Hub New Mexico insurance team to identify customized insurance coverage solutions for your business or personal needs. Find your local New Mexico insurance office today and get a quote.
I got it! I got it! Well, let me do that!
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are joined now by Dr. Daniel Dotson. He is the Assistant Professor of OM and Family Practice. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks, Sid. Nice to be here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're very excited to have you on. And you know, we were all kind of scratching our heads a little bit because we were talking about a junk drawer. And you know, you wanted people to donate from their junk drawer. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so when we're training new osteopathic medical students how to use their hands for diagnosing and treating patients, we have to teach them first how to use their hands. It's called palpating or palpation. Before we let them do that on people, we use inanimate objects. And so one of the resources that we use is we take small objects that people donate from their household junk drawer, things like nuts and bolts and screws and erasers and things like that that they just throw in their drawer. And they bring
it's that drawer that everybody just throws stuff in, that you know, they forget
right.
about it, or that's what you're talking about.
Right, the household junk drawer, right? So they bring those items in, and then we use them to train students by putting them inside of various substances and then having them feel through the substances to see if they can identify the objects. One of the things we use right here.
He brought an example, right?
Yeah.
So you brought an example, so go ahead and let's look at the example.
Yeah,
we
so-
have it here, and you want to hold it up a little bit, or there you go.
Sure.
And it is just a plastic bag, and you filled it with what? Tell me about
So
it.
it has cornstarch and water in it. It's something kids play with. It's called oobleck that they learn how to make in elementary school, but we use this here. And the reason we use this is because when you push down on this substance, it's hard, but as you rest your fingers on it and let them sink in, it becomes liquid. And this is a lot like human tissue, like muscle or fat tissue on the body. When you're palpating it with your hands, if you go too fast, it just is firm. It guards against your touch. But if you go slowly and relax and gentle, you can sink deeper into it, where you can feel bones and joints and joint spaces and tendons. So we put those objects from your junk drawer in here.
Inside, right? And
Yeah.
they're supposed to simulate
So that
ailments
simulates,
or things
yeah,
that we have, correct?
bones or joints or joint spaces or whatever, tendons, and then the students can practice feeling slowly through the tissue, and then finding the objects and getting a sense of the structure in terms of how does it have ridges? Is it rubbery? Is it?
I'll hold it so you can demonstrate. So, you know, the students, you know, physically use this, and they're doing what? They're physically touching.
So you're physically going, just pressing down through the tissue or the material, this cornstarch, and as you get in there, there will be an object inside. It might be like, say, an eraser, and then the student will feel that, and they'll have to describe it. It's rubbery. It's not completely solid. It's circular or it's cylindrical feeling.
And this lesson is designed to get them into the framework of touch, correct?
Correct.
Now, why is that important? You know, let's talk about osteopathic medicine and muscle. Is it muscle manipulation, or how do we term this?
So osteopathic medicine is basically a set of philosophies and techniques that osteopathic physicians use. It has to do with maximizing the body's potential to self-healing. We don't cure disease with osteopathic manipulation. We help the body and other mechanisms of medications and therapies along with manipulation for the body to heal itself. And in the way we do that is we use manipulation or osteopathic techniques to maximize blood flow and to maximize body motion, because motion is important for lymphatic flow, which is important for fighting infections and those kind of things. So to use our hands to do that, we have to be able to find certain structures in the body and manipulate them or move them and try to maximize their function through these techniques.
Is this lesson for our first year students?
Right, this is first day of first year students.
Oh, first day. And because it's about understanding touch, and they're using this item before they actually move on to like a physical human.
Correct.
Or physical
Right.
person, I should say.
Right.
Yes. And so from the start of this to when they're actually working on an individual, what's like the time frame?
So after, it takes a couple of weeks of going to lab before they start partnering up and doing techniques or learning palpation on each other. This is really a confidence builder for them, because if you bring students in and on the first day you say, we want you to put your hand on your partner's shoulder and feel their shoulder joint, they get a little standoffish about that. But if we start slowly with these kind of things, they start getting to know each other, they start getting to trust their hands a little bit more, they start trusting the process. And so it builds confidence as we go.
Well, we have 200 students in Las Cruces, 100 students in Melbourne, Florida. So what's the ask here? Go ahead and make that ask. Look at that camera and ask people if they can donate their junk from their drawer, and if you want to give them their email.
Sure, so my email address is dodsondan, D-O-D-S-O-N-D-A-N, or I'm sorry, ddodson, D-O-D-S-O-N at burrell.edu. I have too many email addresses.
That is okay. We got it flashing on the screen. We have your email up on the screen. So
Perfect.
That's good.
And basically any small items that you have in your junk drawer, little erasers or bolts or screws or coins or buttons, the smaller the better. Nothing sharp, nothing that will go bad, like food, nothing perishable.
Or pierce the plastic, right?
Or pierce the plastic, or the student's
or
fingers.
the student, yes,
Right,
for that matter.
Exactly. So anything that you have like that, we'll take it. We just want to fill up some boxes full of these items, and so we have a good supply to use. A lot of variety is best, and that's it.
That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about you. We have some time left. Let's talk about you. Why did you decide to become a DO?
Well, mostly my older brother's a DO. I was kind of a late bloomer. I had a first career in the Army, and when I was in college and studying biochemistry, my older brother, who's a DO, came and told me about being an osteopathic physician and how much he enjoys it and the rewarding career it's been for him. And so, he practices in Alamogordo, by the way, so I'll give him a plug.
Shout out to him. Yeah, shout out to him.
And so, we grew up in New Mexico, and I love New Mexico. So it just being going to medical school and become an osteopathic physician and come back here and serve the state was always a big thing for me. So,
can you share some advice? Look at that camera right there, and share your own personal advice to our current students, incoming students. What advice would you have for them about med school?
My first advice is to not get overwhelmed, which is very difficult to do, but focus on one day at a time. Don't look backwards. If you have if you fall a little bit or you stumble a little bit, keep going forward. Don't get hung up on the mistakes that you made. And the last thing is work really hard and don't cut any corners, because you don't want to run into a situation someday where you need information you don't have.
Awesome. Dr. Dodson, thank you so much. Such wonderful information, and this is a really exciting lesson, and I can't wait to do more stories on this. Appreciate your time.
Cool, thank you.
That's our show. If you have any questions or story ideas, you can send us an email. Our email is communications@burrell.edu. We'd love to hear from you. You can also reach us on all of our social media platforms. Our handle is @Burrell College. I'm Sidney Alvarez. Thanks for joining us, and until next time.